the continuing series of God in my life. I came to Jesus about 20 years ago, 14 years ago. I was a crack addict. I'd had a fire in my apartment. I was so addicted. I thought that I absolutely had to have crack I just couldn't make it after the day's worth of work without being high until ever I passed out. I just could not be with myself at all. And one day I was completely out of money. I had used all of my friends up. I went to the refrigerator in the cupboards, and there was a can of green beans, and there was a frozen carp, half of it actually, where even the plastic had come off in the refrigerator and the fish was freezer burned. And I tried to cook that, and it was so horrible. I don't know if you've ever had carp, but there's a tremendous number of bones in it to start with. And, being freezer burned, it really doesn't have that good a flavor either. Well, somebody had told me about Jesus Christ and how he bridged the gap between man and God through the cross. They'd asked me to accept Jesus into my life when they told me the story. It took about an hour for them to go through where they showed me in the Bible and the history of Jesus. And they asked me if I wanted to accept God into my heart. I said, nope. I said, it's a personal relationship. Pretty simple. That's what you're telling me, is that I have to accept Jesus into my heart. And you really have nothing to do with it. So anyway, back to the apartment. Oh, a week and a half later, I'd say. Well, I was crying on the couch because I had no drugs. I was hurting very bad. I had no food. The apartment was burned because while I was doing crack, I caught a fire. I had no friends because I had used them up. There was nobody to get any money from. I had been using that day, but I ran out. And I just asked, I says, whoever you are, whatever you are, if you will please help me right now, I will learn about you and try to follow you the best I can in my life from now on. And immediately, a weight was lifted off my shoulders that you might as well have taken a ton of bricks off my back. I was lifted up right then. Now, I can't say I got Shazammed, as I like to say. It has been a long process, and yet the process must go on, as the Bible says. But I'm so grateful that God chose me out of the millions of people in time and in this world, that he might speak to and love me and lift me up out of the dark and dreary life that I hated so many years ago. As I look at where I was back then and where I am now, I can only imagine a beautiful life for tomorrow and beyond. I've got to say, if you ever have the chance, if you ever have the thought of accepting Jesus into your life, do it. Take it. It's well worth the effort and the risk. In accepting Jesus Christ, I'm kind of an analytical sort of person in the math, science, all that stuff. And I took a look at the opportunity, and I decided that of all the things that you can do on a day-to-day basis in your life in this world, reading the Bible and accepting Jesus into your life was not a bad thing. And if it could be as good as they said it was going to be well worth it. And 15 years later, as I sit here as a testimony to what God has done in my life, I'm very happy that I made that decision. So today is, let's see here, the 23rd, and I'm happy to be up and being able to put this, what God has done in my life, film together. So this is David Davidson signing out, Phoenix, Arizona. If you're hurting and in pain, consider what I have said.